The divorce papers hit the marble floor with a slap that echoed through the mansion. Alicia Jones stood frozen as Madame Seo Eun-suk shoved the documents into her chest. Rain hammered against the windows behind her, each drop counting down the final moments of her life as she knew it. 7 years, Madame Seo said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. 7 years of my son's youth wasted on a woman who cannot even fulfill her most basic duty. Alicia's throat tightened. The medical reports scattered across the marble told their story. Unexplained infertility. Unable to conceive. Words that had become her identity. Mother, please, Seo Jae-hyun said from behind her, his voice flat and emotionless. Not pleading. Just going through motions. She is barren, Madame Seo snapped. She has failed this family. I will not allow her to continue embarrassing us with her presence. 2 security guards appeared. Large men in black suits, expressionless, waiting. Pack nothing, Madame Seo continued. Everything in this house belongs to the Seo family. You came with nothing. You leave with nothing. My passport, Alicia whispered. At least let me. Already prepared. A guard held up a manila envelope. Your passport and divorce decree. You have 30 days to leave Korea. If you overstay, we'll have you deported. The room tilted. Her visa had been dependent on marriage. Without Jae-hyun, she had no legal right to remain in the country that had been her home for nearly a decade. Jae-hyun, she said, turning to her husband. Ex-husband. Please. Tell them this is wrong. He looked at her for 3 seconds. Then away. I'm sorry, Alicia. But my mother is right. You deserve to move on. Find someone else. The rehearsed words made it worse. Escort her out, Madame Seo said, waving dismissively. The guards walked her through the mansion, past rooms where she'd spent 7 years trying to belong. The front door opened. Rain immediately soaked her clothes, cold and vicious. Wait, she said. My phone. It was purchased under the family account, the guard said. You can buy your own now. The gates closed behind her with a metallic clang. Alicia stood there, clutching the envelope, water streaming down her face. For 7 years, she'd tried. Hospital visits every month. Fertility treatments that left her sick. She'd abandoned her teaching career because Madame Seo insisted a daughter-in-law didn't work. She'd learned to make kimchi exactly right. She'd bowed and stayed silent through criticism. And for what? To be thrown out in the rain like trash. She started walking. Just away. Away from the mansion in Cheongdam Heights, where she'd spent 7 years feeling like a ghost. She ended up in Mapo Foreign Quarter after midnight. The neighborhood where she'd lived when she first came to Seoul, young and excited. There was a bench near a small park. She collapsed onto it, too exhausted to walk further. She had no home, no money, no phone, and in 30 days, no country. The sound of a car engine made her look up. A black Mercedes S-Class pulled to the curb, sleek and expensive and completely out of place. The back window lowered. Alicia Jones, a male voice said from inside. Deep. Calm. You can sit there and wait for deportation, or you can get in this car. She stared at the dark window, unable to see the speaker's face. Who are you? Someone who knows exactly what happened to you tonight. Someone who knows the Seo family threw you away because you couldn't give them an heir. Someone who knows you have 30 days before you're forced to leave. Alicia's heart hammered. How do you know that? I make it my business to know things. The question is, do you want to keep sitting in the rain feeling sorry for yourself, or do you want to do something about it? Do what? I have nothing. No money, no status, no leverage. Get in the car and I'll show you. Every instinct screamed at her not to get into a strange car. But what did she have to lose? Her dignity was gone. Her future was destroyed. She opened the door. The interior was warm and smelled like leather and expensive cologne. The man in the back seat was younger than his voice suggested, early 30s, wearing a charcoal suit. His face was sharp and handsome in a dangerous way. Kang Dae-sung, he said. Close the door. You're letting the rain in. The driver pulled away immediately. You're going to tell me what you want, Alicia said. Direct. I like that. He leaned back, studying her. I know about you because I make it my business to know everyone who interacts with the Seo family. And they interact with me because they owe me approximately 4 billion won. Alicia's eyes widened. 4 billion. Gambling debts, mostly. The family has been paying it off slowly. Very slowly. I don't like slow payments. I prefer leverage. He pulled out his phone, showed her a marriage registration form. Her name already filled in. You're going to be my wife. You're insane. Practical. You need a visa sponsor. Money. Status. Protection. I can provide all of that. In exchange, you provide me with something the Seo family values, their reputation. If their discarded daughter-in-law marries into a more powerful family, it makes them look foolish. Weak. You want to marry me to embarrass them? I want to marry you to apply pressure. You get to stay in Korea. You get financial security. You get to walk into rooms where they are and watch them squirm. All you have to do is play the role of my wife in public. For how long? 1 year. After that, we divorce quietly. You keep a settlement of 500 million won, a permanent visa, and letters of recommendation for any job you want. 500 million won. Nearly $400,000. Enough to never be dependent again. This is crazy, Alicia said. This is business. I need a wife to improve my social standing. You need a life raft. We help each other. The car pulled up to Skyline Crown Residences, a building that made the Seo mansion look modest. Think about it, Kong said. You can go back to that bench and wait for deportation. Or you can come upstairs, take a hot shower, eat a meal, and discuss details. He smiled. Either way, the choice is yours. I don't deal with victims. Only partners. Alicia looked at her soaked clothes, at the bleak nothingness of her future. Then up at the gleaming tower. Show me the contract, she said. Kang's smile widened. Welcome home, Mrs. Kong. The next 3 weeks were transformation. Stylists descended with designer clothes. An etiquette coach taught her how to navigate elite society. A PR team drilled her on handling invasive questions. You're representing Mr. Kang now, they said. Everything you wear, everywhere you go, reflects on him. You need to look expensive. Not like you're trying. Like expensive is your natural state. The night before the Aurora Grand Charity Gala, Kong called her to his office for final briefing. The Seo family will be there. Table 12. Your ex-husband will be there with his new girlfriend. Been dating her 6 months, apparently. Choi Mi-sun, 25. Korean. Acceptable. It shouldn't have hurt. But knowing Jae-hyun had been planning his exit for months felt like a knife between her ribs. What's the plan? Alicia asked. We arrive fashionably late. I introduce you to key people. We pass the Seo table at least once. You smile. You look happy. Like you've never been more content. He pulled a small box from his drawer. Inside was a massive diamond ring. People will expect it. The Seo family will see it and know exactly how much you're worth to me. Alicia slipped it on. Perfect fit. Thank you. Don't thank me. It's an investment. When this is over, you keep the ring. Or sell it. A reminder that you're worth more than they gave you credit for. The Aurora Grand Hotel existed to intimidate. Marble columns, crystal chandeliers, guests dripping in jewelry. Alicia stood in the penthouse staring at her reflection in a midnight blue Ellie Saab gown, barely recognizing herself. She looked expensive. Untouchable. Ready? Kong appeared in a custom tuxedo. As ready as I'll ever be. They walked the red carpet together, his hand warm on her back. Photographers shouted questions. Inside, Kang introduced her to ministers, CEOs, celebrities. Each time, this is my wife, Alicia. Not my new wife. My wife. Present tense. Established fact. People's eyes widened. They'd done their research. They knew who she'd been married to. The scandal was spreading like wildfire. Then Madame Seo looked up and locked eyes with Alicia across the ballroom. The older woman went pale. Then red. Then pale again. Kang steered Alicia directly toward their table. Mrs. Seo, he said pleasantly. What a pleasure. I don't believe you've met my wife. Madame Seo's hand shook around her champagne glass. Your wife? Yes. Alicia and I were married last month. Speaking of which, I believe the payment you owe me is due next week. I trust there won't be delays. Jae-hyun stood abruptly. Alicia, what is this? What are you doing? I'm attending a charity gala with my husband, Alicia said, voice steady. Is there a problem? You were divorced 3 weeks ago. Yes, and remarried 2 weeks ago. Life moves quickly. She glanced at Choi-mi-san. I see you've also moved on. How nice for both of us. This is inappropriate, Madam Seo hissed. You have no shame. Marrying for money and status. Actually, Kong interrupted smoothly, Alicia married me because I recognized quality when I saw it. Something your family couldn't do. One person's trash is another person's treasure. Nearby tables had gone silent, listening. You owe me 4 billion won, Kong continued pleasantly. I've been patient. But patience has limits. Perhaps we should discuss your payment schedule. Privately. Unless you'd prefer to handle this here. Madam Seo looked like she'd swallowed glass. Kong guided Alicia away. Enjoy your evening. Outside on the terrace, Alicia gripped the railing, breathing deeply. They looked so shocked, she said. Like they couldn't believe I could land on my feet. You surprised me tonight too, Kong said. I thought you'd fall apart. But you stood there and made them feel small. That takes strength. Or stubbornness. Not much difference. He turned to face her. You're going to be all right, Alicia. Whatever happens after this year, you're stronger than you think. It was the kindest thing anyone had said to her in years. Don't be nice to me. I can handle cruelty, but kindness might break me. King smiled. Fair enough. Then I'll tell you the truth. That dress makes you look incredible, and watching them squirm was the most fun I've had in months. The photograph appeared online within hours. Alicia and Kang on the terrace, standing close, soul glittering behind them. Mafia boss's new wife. Seo family's discarded daughter-in-law marries up. By morning, it was everywhere. The comments were vicious. Gold digger. Opportunist. Foreign women always target rich Korean men. Stop reading that garbage, Kang said, taking her tablet. They're calling me every name in the book. And do you care what strangers think? These people don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. The only thing that matters is that you and I know the truth. What if they're right? What if I am just using you? Then you're a very smart opportunist and I'm a willing participant. There's no victim here. Just two adults making strategic choices. Alicia made a statement that afternoon. Brief. Direct. Unapologetic. Yes, I married Kang Dae-sung shortly after my divorce. Yes, it was fast. But after 7 years in a marriage that valued me only for what I could produce, I found someone who valued me for who I am. I'm not sorry for choosing myself. And I'm not sorry for finding happiness with a man who actually sees me. The internet exploded. Half called her brave. Half called her delusional. Through it all, Kang stood beside her. Accompanied her everywhere. Made sure everyone saw he wasn't embarrassed. That he claimed her publicly, proudly. It was performance. Strategy. But late at night, she'd find him working and he'd wordlessly make space for her on the couch. Those moments felt less like performance and more like something real. 2 months later, the Seo family's counterattack began. Articles claiming Alicia had stolen jewelry. Rumors she'd been fired for misconduct. Whispers her visa had always been questionable. They're desperate, Kang said. The financial pressure is working. This is retaliation. Can they hurt me? Not while you're married to me. But they can make your life hell. He looked at her. Do you want me to end this? Call off the debt collection. No. If you stop now, they win. I want them to face consequences. Even if it means more attacks on you? Especially then. Every attack proves they're scared. King smiled. You've developed a taste for revenge. You taught me well. Then we do this properly. He pulled up files. I've been investigating their finances for months. Jaehyun's father embezzled from his own company. Siphoned money offshore. Everything is propped up by debt and creative accounting. You can prove this? I can prove enough to destroy them. Professionally. Socially. Legally. But once I do this, there's no going back. Are you sure? Alicia thought about 7 years of humiliation. 7 years of being told she was worthless. I'm sure. By afternoon, evidence was in the hands of regulators, journalists, tax authorities. By evening, the Seo family's world was imploding. Embezzlement. tax fraud, shell companies. Within a week, they were ruined. Alicia watched from the penthouse. She should have felt triumphant. Instead, she just felt tired. Is this what revenge is supposed to feel like? She asked Kang on the terrace. Empty? Yes. Revenge doesn't heal wounds. It just makes them stop bleeding. He was quiet. But the Seo family got what they deserved. What happens now? Now you decide what you want. You have money. Status. A permanent visa as of last week. You can go anywhere. Do anything. And our arrangement? We have 9 months left. Unless you want out. He looked at her. Do you? Their arrangement had served its purpose. There was no reason to continue. But the idea of leaving felt wrong. I don't know. What do you want? Honestly, I've stopped thinking of this as a contract. Somewhere between the gala and watching you refuse to break, this stopped being fake for me. Alicia's heart hammered. What are you saying? I'm saying I've spent my life treating relationships like transactions, keeping everyone at distance. And then you showed up, furious and refusing to be a victim. And I realized maybe I don't want to be alone anymore. He stepped closer. This started as business. But I'd like it to be real. If you want that too. This was supposed to be temporary. Safe. Clear boundaries. But standing here, looking at this dangerous, complicated man who'd given her back her power, she realized she'd already fallen. I want that too, she whispered. Kang kissed her. Gentle at first, then deeper. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. So we're really doing this? We're really doing this. Then I should tell you I'm in love with you. Have been for weeks. Alicia laughed. I'm in love with you too. 3 months later, Alicia stood in a medical clinic, staring at impossible test results. I don't understand, she said. This isn't possible. Dr. Kim smiled. I assure you, Mrs. Kang, the test is accurate. You're approximately 8 weeks pregnant. Pregnant. The word that had haunted her for 7 years. The word that had gotten her thrown out in the rain. But I can't. I've been told for years I can't. Unexplained infertility. Nothing worked. Sometimes infertility is caused by stress. Psychological factors. When those factors change, the body can too. 7 years with Jaehyun had been nothing but stress. But with Kang, she'd been happy. Secure. Loved. Maybe her body had finally felt safe. She drove back to the penthouse in a daze. Found Kang in his office. I'm pregnant. He froze. What? 8 weeks. After 7 years of nothing. I'm pregnant. Kang crossed the room, pulling her into his arms. Are you okay? How do you feel? I'm fine. The baby's fine. She looked at him. I know this wasn't part of our arrangement. If you don't want. Stop. Do I want this baby? Yes. Do I want to be a father with you? Yes. 1,000 times yes. Tears streamed down her face. You're sure? I won't change my mind. This baby is ours. You're mine. We're a family. Real. Not a contract. A family. The Seo family said I was broken. Defective. You were never broken, Kang said fiercely. You were just unloved. But you were never broken. At 5 months, they found out they were having a girl. Gabby, Alicia said. I want to name her Gabby. It means God is my strength. I need to remember that miracles happen. That even when the world tells you you're nothing, you can still create life. Gabby. I love it. At 34 weeks, Alicia went into labor. Too early. Too fast. The hospital was chaos. 6 hours of pain and fear and Kang's voice telling her she was strong. She could do this. And then, finally, a cry. It's a girl, the doctor said. Small but healthy. 5 pounds, 2 ounces. Alicia looked down at her daughter and sobbed. Hi, baby. Hi, Gabby. I'm your mom. Kang was crying too. She's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Gabby's first birthday was an elaborate affair at the penthouse. Too elaborate for a 1-year-old, but Kang insisted. Friends came. Mrs. Han brought a giant stuffed rabbit. Gabby smashed her face into cake. Everyone laughed. The Seo family wasn't invited. Alicia hadn't heard from them in over a year. She hoped they'd found peace. But mostly, she didn't think about them anymore. Later, after guests left and Gabby was asleep, Alicia and Kang stood on the terrace. 5 years ago, Alicia said, I was sitting on a bench in Mapo in the rain, believing my life was over. And now? Now I have everything. A husband who loves me. A daughter who's perfect. A life that's actually mine. We gave each other that. I was empty before you. You made me real. They kissed as Seoul glittered below. The city that had rejected her. The city that was now her home. She wasn't broken, Alicia whispered. She was just planted. And from pain, she grew everything. If this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment about what part hit you hardest. Share this with someone who needs to hear that broken seasons don't last forever. Thank you for being here. And remember, you were never broken. You were just planted. Now go grow everything.